I chose Paired Verbal Fluency for the strategy in this lesson, and I also used thumbs up, thumbs down. The great thing about this is you don't need any materials except your mouth and your ears, okay? So I'm going to introduce the strategy to you. It is called Paired Verbal Fluency, PVF for short. Okay, here's a summary of what the strategy is like. It's going to make you think. You are using it with pairs. That makes a lot of sense since it's called paired. Okay? It is good for review or reflection of your learning. It will be timed in rounds. Okay? You will take turns about an assigned topic that I give you. You cannot interrupt your partner while they're talking. You have to be completely silent and listen to your partner. And then when you talk, they will be completely silent and listen to you. Okay? Be a good listener. What they say may help trigger something you want to talk about. The A student will talk first, and I'll explain who the A student will be in a minute. And the B student will talk second, and then you'll go back and forth. A, B, A, B, A, B. The first rounds will be 15 seconds for each person. The second rounds will be 30 seconds for each person. And the last round is 45. I selected Paired Verbal Fluency because it is a great way to review a section or part of a unit with your students before they take a test. We were getting ready to move on to the next big part of this lesson, group of lessons, and I wanted to make sure that they had a good grasp on the vocabulary before we moved on. I'm going to set the timer for 45 seconds. Okay, stop.
That was 15.
That was 45 seconds. You're going to get back to back. And then you're going to decide who A and B is, and I'll tell you how in a minute. But I chose him to be A. All right, you're going to stand on this side of the board so you can see the prompt at all times, and I can see the prompt at all times. So, our topic is summarize what Bell Street Middle School has to offer all people, students, teachers, staff, administrators, parents, custodian, cafeteria staff, and visitors. He's A student, so he's going to start when Miss Gilchrist says go, and she will tell us when to stop and switch.
Bell Street has a lot to offer as students because they have a wide range of talents, and you never know what they'll bring to the school. The teachers, they can teach us, and they get taught a little bit too.
I agree. I think our students have a lot to offer. Our students surprise me every day, especially when I'm teaching math and science, how much they know about math. I think our students are challenged by our teachers. Make sure that you and your partner both are standing in a position that you can see the prompt so that you can refer to it at all times. Okay, so you may have to shift a little bit. Okay, shorter person is A, so determine who's the shortest. You're going first.
When the precipitation falls, it comes off as runoff, and it goes down and it goes into the creek, and then it flows into the river, and then it flows into the ocean. There you go.
When it rains, the precipitation, it goes and it's runoff, and if it does not go into the ground, it's not groundwater, so it runs off. And that's called a watershed because, like water on some kind of building or something, just rolls off the roof.
When it's not runoff, it's groundwater. That's when it rains and then it goes into the water. It sinks. That's when it sinks into the ground and it stays in the ground and it soaks in the ground to help plants grow better. Runoff is when it goes to the drainage basin. And that's when it goes to the watershed.
Groundwater is when water does not run off of something. It just sinks into the ground because it's not got something impermeable under it. So it just seeps to go under there. So it doesn't just run off, it just seeps into the ground. And is important to ecosystems. That isn't it. It's important to ecosystems.
It is important to ecosystems and human activity, so we can drink the water once it goes. Once it falls from the from the sky. And it's also important to ecosystems, so animals can have the water to drink and plants can have it when it drains into the ground for plants to be able to grow for animals to eat.
This strategy enables students to hear what other students have learned and gives them the opportunity to converse and share what they have learned. So a lot of times they learn better from students than they do from teachers. So it gave them the opportunity to have a conversation to see what other people were catching in the lessons that they might not have been catching, so that they had the opportunity to hear it one more time before we moved on. Was it hard for you to talk for 15 seconds? Thumbs up or thumbs down? It was hard? Okay. Some people are saying no, it wasn't hard. How about 30 seconds? Was it hard for you to talk for 30 seconds? Yes, no, no. What about 45 seconds? That's where it gets hard, isn't it? Okay, it gets hard. You really got to start digging down deep. Would this strategy be good to use right before a quiz or a test? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Kinda. Anybody who said, Gracie, tell us why you think it would be.
Because it would give us a quick review of what we learned about.
Okay, quick reviews. Anybody else have anything to add?
The other person's ideas of what they think about the subject to help us out too.
Did you learn anything new about the topic?
I learned about how plants, when they get too saturated, they could wither up or die.
Okay. The thing I like most about this is it's easy to use. You can use your own watch, and that the students really enjoyed it. And I have found my students begging to do it before we take a major test. And so I think that that's great that they have that in their toolbox. Now, let me run through some vocabulary. And I want to hear you go yes or no. Did you hear the word in your discussion, groundwater? Yes. Did you hear runoff? Yes. Surface water? Yes. Zone of saturation? No. Water table? No. Aquifers? Yes. Drainage basin? Yes. Watershed? Yes. Divide? No. Floodplain? No. Ecosystems? Yes. Humans? No. Survival? No. 71%? No. 3%? No. Fresh water? No. Salt water? One of the things I thought you might have mentioned, and I heard some yes and some no's, but that's a new strategy we're going to start using, especially before tests or quizzes. Does anybody have any questions about the strategy and how to use it? What I learned about this strategy that might be helpful to others is that to a 7th grader, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and 45 seconds is a long time. So when they start this strategy, they might want to consider narrowing down those times a little bit and then work their way up to larger time periods. And also the other thing I learned was that it enables students to react, and if they're reacting verbally instead of having to write it on a pencil, they're more engaged a lot. So I found that that was the two things that would be helpful for others to see. And the fact that you don't need any materials is not bad either.